Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, then hi. My name is Nandini and I am a junior studying journalism and dramatic literature, theatre, history and cinema at New York University. This is a very new kind of video style that I'm trying. I always talk about how I write essays at university, how I manage my time, how I'm productive, how I'm organized, XYZ. I try to give tips here and there. But in this video, I thought I would take you along with me as I write one of my final papers for a class I'm taking. The class is called the Black Artist on Stage, and this class is basically within the dramatic literature department of NYU, and dramatic literature is one of my majors, and this is sort of an elective that I'm taking. It's not a mandatory class, but I really wanted to take it because I once interviewed someone who was a specialist in the field of black artistry, and I didn't know much about the field, and I was like, if I'm getting an education, I want to be learning about things that I don't already know about and sort of expand my skill set and expand my research areas. So that's why I took this class. I've been having fun with it. And so our final paper is basically, I can read you the prompt. I have the syllabus right here. It says, you will write a 7 to 10 page paper on a black artist of your choice, either a subject from a course or one independently researched. So as you can see, it's a pretty generic topic. It's pretty general. There are no like specific bullet points that I need to hit. So the angle that I can take with the essay will probably just be determined by my research. I already started working on this paper literally a few hours ago, and from my research, I think I want to make this paper about Lil Nas X because I have been listening to his music for some time, but I literally don't know anything about him, about his life, why he does the music he does, what is the meaning behind some of the music, because like I always see him in the news, but I've never really dug deep into him and like tried to understand his life, and I thought basing my paper on him would be an interesting idea. Also because he's like a modern artist and not really very old, because I'm really interested in like relating my whatever historical research to the modern world. I thought I could draw a tie in there. So I'm definitely very excited for this paper because it gives me the opportunity to dig into someone that I don't really know and I'm not very familiar with. And that's the whole point of taking a class that you've never taken before, is to like learn new things. And because I'm starting this paper way ahead than it is actually due, I do have a lot of time, so I'm going to be taking it slow and not really cramming. I'm not a student in general who crams either, so you're going to be coming with me for quite a few days in bits and parts on how I work out this essay, and maybe that'll not only help you relate to a college junior or a college student, but also give you some tips, because I can sprinkle some tips here and there about how to write a college essay. So hope you enjoy and please keep watching. So the first thing I always do when I'm starting my research is I make a new Google Doc in which I write down the title of whatever I'm researching, and then I make like, as I research, I make like bullet points and add all the links to every article, database, whatever I've read. Most of these articles, as you can see, they are like very new because I'm talking about Lil Nas and his development, and you're not going to find like academic JSTOR articles. So all these are probably like news sources, interviews and YouTube videos in which I listen to Lil Nas X talk about his journey and his opinion. And I think just sorting these things out in a doc really makes it easier when you're coming up with an outline to write, because you have all the information that you need here, and if you need more later, you can always just go back to this document and add more. Okay, so I have been doing a lot of research today on Lil Nas X. I have done research on how he became popular, Old Town Road, the controversy surrounding Old Town Road, then when he came out as gay in 2019, people applauding him for that, and the other side of the spectrum where people were even criticizing him for that. And I'm reading a lot of his interviews, watching videos, reading a lot of analysis pieces and articles, like newspaper articles on that. And one thing that I'm enjoying is that because I don't know much about him, I'm not coming into this essay with a strict angle, and I'm not reading pieces only about that angle. It's always good to have an angle in an essay, but one thing I'd recommend for anybody who's writing an essay that they on a topic or a person that they don't know much about, it's okay to read, and it's actually better to read as much as you can and find an angle through that instead of just focusing on one thing because maybe you just have this mindset that you just have to focus on that. It's okay to research a lot. Researching always saves you a lot of the time. People are like, okay, I need to get writing, but they don't do the research before. I think researching is the most important part. Writing will come only when you have source materials that you can work with, when you have an angle that is fully fleshed out, when your thoughts are in one place. So just doing as much research as you can is a pro tip. Don't take research lightly. It's like a building. A building will probably stand up for some time, but if it doesn't have a solid foundation, one strong gust of wind comes or whatever and it'll fall down. Similarly with your essay, your thesis, nothing is gonna stand if your research is not there. It's like the foundation for your grade, for your essay, for your everything. So do your research well, and obviously, like, if you can choose a topic, especially if you're small on time, choose a topic that already has a lot of stuff out there so that it's easy for you to form your thesis. Like Lil Nas, he has a lot of information out there, so that's always better than having papers in which there's less information. Like previously I wrote, for the same class, I wrote a paper on Phantom of the Opera, and the angle that I had taken didn't have many things on there because I was writing about an artist who was fairly new to the Broadway world, so she didn't have a lot of information out there. So I struggled a bit with that. Surely it was a great lesson. And luckily I had the time, so I could go out of my way and just try and get as much as I can. But if you're short on time, then choose people or choose topics that have a lot out there already. So basically what I've done now is I'm at the stage where I think I've done enough, or in this case more than enough research, and I've compiled on my links in a Google Doc, which is just like Lil Nas X research, so that I know where to find it on my drive. And then I created a new Google Doc in which I typed Lil Nas X paper or / final paper, whatever, and I started typing. Now this is not what I usually do. Usually when I'm done with the research, I take a pen and paper, and this is something I mention on Instagram all the time. I usually draw out like mind maps of like how I'm going to place chunks of information that relate back to my thesis, so that I make sure that my essay is cohesive and I'm not just like saying anything, because like saying anything is fine, sure, it shows that you've done the research, but it should relate to the angle or your main thesis of the essay, right? So I usually draw out a mind map, which I really highly recommend. But this is a really long paper. It's 7 to 10 pages, and with the information I have, I think I will go to write 10 pages and not like 7 pages. 10 pages, drawing a mind map for 10 pages, each graph can be really time consuming, and I recommend mind maps to anyone who hasn't done it before. But once you start doing mind maps, even as you research, you get into the habit of understanding where each information is going to go, and then you start consolidating your links this way. So if you saw on my Google Doc, I had like 3 sub-points, which are my 3 main points that relate back to my thesis, and within that I had other sub-points in which I mentioned links for all the things that related back to that sub-point, which therefore related back to my thesis. So I was mind mapping as I was researching and drawing out like a mental note of like how the essay is going to be structured. So I highly recommend doing that. It could be through mind maps, it could be through just like writing everything that you want in the essay, anything. But like before you start writing the essay, you should have a thesis or a clear angle in your head, and you should also know what are your supporting points and do you have evidence for that, do you have research, like, you know, because you need research to back whatever you're saying. Another day, another essay writing session. Alright guys, so I'm at the stage in this paper where I have written about 4 pages. So I'm like, yeah, okay, so I've written like about 3 pages actually. And if you notice, I've started like in-text citing, because like I always like to cite my way as I go so that I'm not too confused later and it doesn't just take like 2 hours for me to cite. And whatever, like out of all this research, the sites that I'm actually using, I've started like highlighting them so that's easier for me to find them when I actually have to do the proper citations, because that I do tend to do in the end. So here's a little tip. As you go, highlight whatever sources you're using, and start like index citing them so that it's easier for you to find what websites you actually use slash like research papers you actually used. And yeah, that's my little update. Okay, y'all, so now I'm at the stage in this essay where I am done. I am done writing this essay and I'm so proud, I'm so happy. It's 10 pages, well, almost 10 pages. It's a little more than 9.5, but I am done writing this paper on Lil Nas X. It was fun because it was a modern topic. I didn't know about him, as I said in the beginning of the video, and it was just a fun paper to write. I did not mind it. I usually don't write academic essays that often, and I don't like writing them because I'm a journalism student and I like writing like journalism pieces and making videos and stuff like that because I'm also doing broadcast journalism. But I'm glad I'm done with this paper. And now, because we have like a lot of time before I have to submit this paper, I'm not going to sit down and revise, but because I'm giving you guys tips in this video, I can show you guys what I usually do right before I'm about to submit the paper. The first thing that I do when I'm like submitting the paper is come up with a title. I always come up with the title last because it relates back to the thesis, and I've made sure that what I'm talking about is actually in the essay. So I come up with a title, and then I wouldn't suggest using Grammarly all the time, and this is not sponsored, but I do look through Grammarly once or twice to see if I have any mistakes left. You can see I've already done that, so it's not showing me any of my corrections, but I go through all of my corrections. Some of them, they won't make sense, so I guess just use your best judgment. And I usually just use it for grammar, not for like synonyms and stuff, because I write like pretty simple English. I don't use big fancy words. And I haven't done this yet, but I would like check all my citations, make up a citation page, and clear all these comments and read this whole essay or your essay multiple times, because you will find mistakes. I promise you that. No matter how much time you spend doing it, you will find mistakes. So read through the whole thing and give it like a few days. Like I usually, when I finish writing a paper, I give it like a day or two before I sit down with it again, so that I can come with it with like a fresh perspective. That was it for this video, guys. If you like the video, then please like the video, subscribe. It's free. It really helps me out. If you want to see anything else from me, NYU related content, non-NYU related content, let me know on my socials or comment down below. Anything works. Hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.